Today, I'm going to give you 3 tips that are pretty much the proverbial case of the mechanic that knew what bolts to fix on an expensive car. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, as someone who's experienced with SEO, I don't want to be the one fixing little things here and there and look like a superhero just because lack of information from anyone else. So in this case, what I'm doing, I'm just going to give you 3 tips that you're going to ask your developers or designers once they're done building your beautiful website, just to make sure that everything is ready for users and search engines to see. So, tip number 1, just make sure that Google, and let's say Google and any other search engine, are able to see your content. So, to go a little bit on the technical side, there is one file or one line of code per page that will tell the search engines if they have access or they have the permission to go and read the content of the page and actually index it and present it to the users. So in the case of WordPress and other platforms, it's very easy. It's a little checkbox or a little switch that you just turn on and off to allow search engines to visit your content. So just make sure to tell your designers, your developers, hey, once we go live, we need to make sure that the search engines are able to crawl our website. Think about launching a website and telling the users, hey, by the way, I don't want you to see my content. This is not for you. That's exactly what you're doing by not modifying these settings on your platforms. So, number 2, make sure that they know or that they revise the links. So every single link on your website, it's pointing to the right direction. So as a best practice, usually you will be developing your website in a different environment. That's a common practice. One of the problems that happens is that when we migrate from a development environment to a live or production environment, some links may still be pointing to the old environment. So what happens, let's say that you're a user and you click on one of those links and you see a little ugly page that says, sorry, you need a password, and without the password, you're not going to be able to see this content. So the user, it's not going to be able, doesn't have the password. Most likely it's not going to have the patience to ask you, hey, what's the password? So they're not going to be seeing your content. They're not going to be doing business with you. Same thing will happen with search engines. They're going to say, hey, hold on. You just send me to a different location, and by the way, you're asking me some information that I don't have? Okay, I'm not going to be crawling you anymore. Fine. And number 3, just make sure that the website loads fast. Right now, we have really good devices. In some countries, we have really good internet connections. But still, we live in the fast lane right now. We have a fast life. So make sure that, we always like to have the best looking website with the very crisp images and things like that. Just make sure that your designer or your developer, they're optimizing your images. Not so long ago, I did an analysis, an audit on a website where the main image was about 2 megabytes. That's huge. Yes, it looked very crisp, but we still were able to reduce it probably to 95% of the weight, and it still looked crisp and beautiful. And guess what? They got a better experience. So, again, these are 3 basic tips that I guarantee they're going to help you get better results with search engines. So once again, number 1, do not block search engines. Number 2, make sure that the links are pointed to the right place. And number 3, make sure that your images are optimized to load fast. So thank you very much for listening. And again, I would love to hear your comments. I would love to to get some feedback on you, and just leave it on the comments or just pay me a visit on www.blasgifuni.com. See you next week with another set of tips.